The life of man is a constant struggle for existence with the certainty of defeat. Arthur Schopenhauer.
She smiled at your scars, not because she wanted them to heal, but because they proved you bled for her. Most men will never say this out loud. Some are too proud, others too broken. But nearly all of them, at some point in their lives, have felt it. That slow, gut-turning realization that their suffering was not just endured, it was expected. And worse, that it was invisible. We grow up thinking women want strength, and they do, but not the strength that never bends. They want strength that breaks, bleeds, suffers, but keeps moving. They want to see your pain, not to heal it, but to measure it. Schopenhauer saw it before we had words for it. He wrote, "The life of man is a constant struggle for existence with the certainty of defeat." This isn't poetry. It's not philosophy for libraries and lounges. It's a survival manual, buried in bleakness. You see, the man who suffers in silence, who breaks himself in the name of love, often imagines that his sacrifice is noble, that it will be rewarded. But here's the ugly truth. Most of the time, it's not even noticed. Because for many women, your suffering is not a debt they feel they owe. It's the tax you pay for being chosen. She doesn't see your sleepless nights, your quiet anguish, your daily internal wars as burdens. She sees them as confirmation that you're invested, that you're trying, that you're hers. In one of his harshest reflections, Schopenhauer claimed that women lack a sense of justice. And justice for him began with gratitude for sacrifice. He wasn't accusing women of being evil. He was removing the mask of idealism. Because to him, it wasn't hate, it was nature. And nature does not owe you comfort. That might hurt. Especially if you've built your identity around being the provider, the protector, the patient man. Especially if you've held back your fury and hidden your exhaustion, hoping she'd see the effort. But in her world, survival matters more than your emotions. Her instincts are ancient. She's not looking for your tears. She's looking for your endurance. She's looking to see if you can carry the weight without asking for applause. Because to her, applause is weakness. The truth is, she doesn't admire the man who complains. She admires the man who conquers himself. Not because she enjoys your suffering, but because she measures you through it. In her mind, if you can't carry your pain without crumbling, then how can you carry her? This doesn't make her cruel, it makes her biological. Schopenhauer saw this tension between masculine suffering and feminine selection as inevitable. Man strives, endures, breaks, and woman chooses. She chooses not out of gratitude, but out of instinct. She doesn't say thank you. She says prove it again. And you do, again and again. But here's where it gets worse. The more you give without pride, the less visible you become. The more you sacrifice without condition, the more your suffering fades into background noise. She doesn't see your pain because she doesn't have to. You've normalized it. You've become the man who carries the world without needing credit. And in doing so, you become forgettable. Let that sink in. Men who suffer with pride are remembered. Men who suffer in silence are replaced. Not because she's heartless, but because instinct doesn't reward invisibility. So what's the solution? Become heartless? Rage against women? Number. Understand them. Understand that when she sees you struggling but standing, when she sees you broken but unbent, that is when she feels drawn to you. Not because of your wounds, but because you refuse to bleed on her. You bleed into your purpose. You suffer with direction. And that, to her, is power. The modern man has been taught to seek sympathy, to open up emotionally, to show his vulnerability like a badge. And while that has its place, it often backfires. Because while she may nod with empathy, her instincts whisper something else. He's not ready. You want her admiration? Then suffer in silence with pride. Schopenhauer wasn't advocating for emotional suppression. He was warning you, don't confuse sentimentality with strategy. Don't expect nature to change because your feelings want it to. She doesn't want your collapse. She wants your capacity to endure collapse and remain calm. Look at every hero she admires, every man in myth and story who captures her imagination. They all suffer, but not as victims, as Titans, Achilles, Odysseus, David. They are brutalized by life but never broken by it. Your pain isn't your weakness, your reaction to it is. A man who screams into the void seeking comfort is a man who becomes a burden. But a man who carries the void and learns to shape it into strength becomes a mystery. And mystery, my friend, is the lifeblood of attraction. Do you know why some men, broken and battered, still walk into a room and command respect? It's not their size, it's not their money. It's the quiet storm behind their eyes. It's the gravity of a man who's walked through fire and refused to scream. That's what she respects. That's what makes her curious. Because if you can carry that kind of weight, maybe you can carry her. And she wants to be carried. She wants to feel safe. Not just physically, but emotionally. And nothing feels safer than a man whose pain does not control him. You think she doesn't notice? She notices everything. She sees the moment you flinch, the crack in your voice, the doubt in your eyes, and she stores it. Not because she's cruel, but because her instincts demand it. She needs to know, can you carry this life with me? Or will I have to carry you? When you cry too easily, when you seek reassurance too often, when your emotional walls are too porous, she begins to recoil. Not out of malice, but because something deep inside her no longer trusts you to lead. She might still love you, but she won't need you. And that's when everything begins to unravel. Schopenhauer warned that the man who misunderstands the female nature will suffer endlessly. Not because women are wrong, but because he is blind. Blind to the mechanics of selection, blind to the brutal beauty of polarity. You are not meant to be soft all the time. You are not meant to be endlessly open. You are not meant to hand over your peace in exchange for connection. You are meant to be anchored. She wants to feel your storms, yes, but only if they never knock her down. She wants to test your center, but only if it never collapses. She wants to see you suffer. Not because she enjoys the sight of your pain, but because she wants to see what survives after the suffering. Will you become bitter? Or will you become dangerous? Will you retreat into self-pity? Or will you forge yourself into something unshakable? That's what she's watching. She doesn't want the man who feels everything. She wants the man who masters what he feels. The man who turns heartbreak into ambition. The man who transforms rejection into power. The man who looks at his wounds and says, "Thank you, now I'm awake." You want to win her loyalty? Then stop asking for her comfort. Earn her respect. And to do that, you must suffer with clarity. Not in silence, but in sovereignty. There is a difference. The weak man hides his pain out of fear. The strong man carries it openly, not to impress, not to complain, but to remind himself. This is the weight I choose. And when she sees that, when she senses that your suffering is not a plea for pity, but a path to power, she follows. Not because she has to, but because her nature demands it. She doesn't need your perfection. She needs your presence. Your calm in chaos, your steadiness in storms, your dignity in defeat. That's the paradox. She thrives in your pain, not because she causes it, but because it reveals you. So let her see your scars, but make sure those scars are carved into stone, not into broken flesh. Let her feel your weight, but never let her carry it for you. And when you rise, when you face your battles and walk forward without apology, without needing her to fix you, she will look at you differently, not with sympathy, but with reverence. And that, my brother, is the only kind of love worth keeping, not one built on comfort, not one built on pity, but one built on power, power earned in pain.